Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grief Burrito. I'm Harrison.
And I'm Jordan.
We're a comedy, gaming, movie, and entertainment podcast that comes to you every single Wednesday to cover all the latest big things in gaming, movies, and entertainment, which I already just said.
Today we're chatting with Retro Dodo about the booming market for retro handheld consoles and the recent trend of modernized retro emulation handhelds that has got everyone, including me, pumped as
Pumped! So pumped. I actually pumped and I regret it instantly. Let's do this. Play the music. Go!
Go!
So we all don't have the clap. Hey, everyone, and welcome to episode 106 of Grief Burrito. Thank you, first of all, to the amazing Luke Hyde for sending us the new podcast comics. We have to give him a shout out, Brandon. So there you go. He was a fucking amazing artist who got his Kickstarter funded, which was incredible. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the retro modern consoles that have been sweeping the whole internet pretty much in droves. And we've seen huge amounts of them coming out over the past year, especially. 2020, which is kind of perfect as we're all locked inside. So we thought there was no better way than to get the Retro Dodo himself to come and talk to us about these consoles. Say hello, Brendan.
The expert.
The expert.
People say that, but I've been in it. Well, like you said, over the last year, they have been really coming out. And luckily for me, I was there when they started kind of, becoming an affordable price. And now, bloody hell, they're coming out every 3 weeks now. I even struggle to keep up. I can't afford buying them all.
I bet, man. It's insane, though, because it's like there's the first... I'll start like where we first sort of got introduced to this kind of thing. And it's emulation, really, isn't it? It's consoles that can emulate other consoles. And I always feel sketchy using them. Like, I know you say on your videos, like, oh, it's a bit naughty, but it's like, and it is, but it's an amazing way to play all these older games, to get to play them on more modern hardware, and especially on the go. I say on the go, when we're allowed to go, it'll be nice to play them on the go. Where did you start with emulation then? I mean, we can bleep all this if you want. If you don't, we don't emulate here and we don't advise it. But what was your first introduction to emulation?
In all honesty, these little handhelds. I never really got into emulation because, one, I didn't really have a computer or a PC, and I've never really had an Android phone, and that's what a lot of people, or kind of like where emulation started, I guess. People wanted to play their old retro games on their PCs, and then eventually these little smartphones became powerful enough to play the classic Game Boys, and then they moved. Now they can play pretty much everything up to Nintendo Switch. But what these little handhelds have done is opened up the scene for people that don't know too much and just want to play Pokemon on a cool little device and not waste their battery on their Android phone. So for me, I only came into it about two years ago, I think, and it was through one of these cheap handhelds.
Right, okay.
It's amazing, really, isn't it, how it's come this far that quickly. But should we start off, first of all, so obviously this is Brandon, everyone. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Brandon, a little bit about what you do online, that kind of stuff? So, guys, welcome back. I think we left off around talking about your time on YouTube, Brandon, before my internet so rudely decided to give up on life.
Yeah, I went static across the camera and everything.
So I've been doing YouTube for probably 5 or 6 years now, and it started originally with just tech unboxings of cheap smartphones and stuff, and then I moved into retro unboxings of Game Boys and anything I could get my hands on, and that's when the interest really started. So I started, testing content, getting in different retro products, even if it was cheap accessories for Game Boys and stuff. And then I started doing videos on these little handhelds, and I'll admit they were absolutely terrible back then, but they were cheap for $15, Super Mario, a couple of Pokemon games, Bob's your uncle, you can go home and chuck that in the bin after 2 weeks. But now, a couple years on, these things are, they're emulating N64 almost flawlessly for $80, which is mad.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you've
crazy.
had your hands on some of the most premium consoles. And as we know, the most premium is the Soldier Boy console. And
The crispiest.
I want to know how it is. You've got to tell me how it is.
It almost feels like they've just put like a really cheap Chinese computer in between toilet roll and sold it. Like it's
Really?
so flimsy. Like you could fart and it would just break into a million pieces. And the fact that somehow he is like getting away with it and people are buying it, like it makes my blood boil. And he even said like he's made this from scratch, and I just had to make a video on it, on all of that rubbish, really. Like if he made something generally really good, I would have been behind that. Like 100%. But the fact that he lied about it, I couldn't, let that go through the retro community, and hopefully people like waste their money on it. So I had to do something. And
No, I'm glad you took the mantle. I just don't get how, like you said, how he's getting away with it. Like he did one and then already got a cease and desist from like Nintendo. And this was like 2 years ago or something. And then I saw your video the other week saying that he was doing it again, and I just can't fathom like not just how he's doing it, but like his confidence behind it. He's like, the revolution's here, boy, on Twitter. Like everyone's up there, tweeting it, sharing it, and it's like, this is nothing good.
It's just
like
the brazen idiocy of it is the main, because it's like he knows what he's doing is wrong. Like not just like business wise, but like morally wrong. But he's just, I have no idea. I reckon he's just got a load of yes men that are like, yeah, it's a revolutionary soldier, Mr. Boy, Mr. Soldier. I don't know what
Mr. Boy, Mr. Sir Boy,
Sir Boy.
It's just got hype men that won't stop. They're all just every time he says anything about a console.
There's two kinds of emulation though. The way I see it, obviously you guys might have a different thing,
right,
where you've got the, as I've seen on your channel, you've got the like £30 Nintendo Switch, which is literally just NES games in a case that looks like a Nintendo Switch, which they've been around forever. So when the PS2, PS3, PSPs, Nintendo DSs, it's just that.
A million games in one,
exactly.
All that stuff.
That is exactly it. And it's literally just NES games or rip-offs or whatever in this little cart. And then you've got the products that you've been reviewing recently, which are these, I don't want to say high-end, but they are the high end of they're actually emulating multiple different consoles in one package, which is small and kind of aesthetically pleasing, which I never thought I'd see. Because my background...
No, I totally agree.
Yeah, sorry, you carry on, and then I'll go on to my background with emulating things.
From what you said there, it did start with, the potato running a Super Mario game and them charging you like 15 quid for it. But then one company, I don't even know who it was, but one company made something like okay for $30, and it played, I think it started something like PS1 games, and everyone was kind of like, holy cow, like what, that can play PS1 games? And it was terrible, but everyone bought it, and someone must have been like, holy cow, they've sold 1,000 of these units of potato that can play PS1. What if I made this potato metal and gave it a nice screen? And it kind of worked out, and they're all right now. They're definitely not perfect, and I think you're right, they're not really premium, because it's still like a open source handheld, and the customer service behind it is like non-existent.
Yeah.
You get anything wrong with these things, they disappear. They're just like gone. They'll happily sell you it, but they just disappear.
To be fair,
you go there, the whole factory's gone. It's just like concrete roots.
Yeah. No refunds here.
They've literally like picked up the building, all of the people, just fucking shimmied it away.
Shifted it. Yeah.
So but that's the thing, is that these things all come from China, realistically, right? Yeah. So they're all made out of not amazing materials or not the best, anything. But I like the idea that some guy just kind of went, wait a minute, people want knockoff stuff, sure, but I can make it slightly better and charge a lot more money. And it's worked out, because it's not that people want all these 1,000 shit games. They want to be able to play whatever they want on that same emulation, which is, that's all it is. It amazes me. So I started off, as most listeners will know, I spend all my time at my PC. It's no big secret. I don't have much of a life outside of this. There we go. And
Brandon's face said, he was like, yes.
Yeah. So
Shame.
I've experienced some of the emulation software. I've wrestled with some of it. And I basically, as soon as I get it all set up and I'm happy, I've lost interest by that point. I don't want to play Tomba now after all that ball ache. So I think there are a few different pros and cons to it. So the PC versions, it's free. You got your choice of emulators. You've got unlimited storage, which is, all pretty great. And then the downsides to it, they run pretty poorly. Even with my 2080 Ti, they don't run amazing. They do not.
Hey, you couldn't play Star Fox.
I couldn't play Star Fox. I managed to.
Wow, what, on the N64?
Yeah, it just struggled.
Wouldn't run.
Wouldn't run properly. Blimey. However,
ran on my laptop.
I did manage to emulate on a emulator and play through it in its entirety on PC. So the consistency is not exactly there, but they take a lot of effort to set up, and the controls and using any kind of controller is an absolute nightmare. Terrible. It's the worst thing.
It's still a shady area, and I think we need to mention this in the podcast. I'm not condoning you guys going and download ROMs. You should really be owning this is what, I don't know even who says it. It's just everybody stating that legally you should own the game to be playing on the ROM, and the only way to be moving ROMs around from anywhere is from cartridge to your PC and not sharing it with anyone. So
that's right.
Yes.
Luckily for me, you may see it in my videos, I only really trial 15 games because they're the only games I own at the moment. So everyone's why you keep testing Crash Bandicoot?
I noticed that.
That's all I bloody own. So
I'm not trying to get sued is what's happening.
Yeah. Literally that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it must be hard to have a big channel like yourself and be in that grey area of legality of the content
under much more scrutiny than say ourselves, kind of thing.
Yeah, because I think that on the most part, the companies making the games, they know it's happening and they can't really do anything about it. They can the donkey's out of the box. That's not a saying, but it is now. It doesn't really make sense, but they can't really stop the games. They can't stop Vim's Lair or Pirate Bay.
How long has Emu Paradise been about?
Exactly, Emu Paradise. You can't really stop that because people are going to constantly share it, and that's the thing. But the only legal way, like you said then, that I know that you're allowed to own the emulation is if you make it yourself. So if you back up your own hardware. So if anyone is thinking about emulating things, we have to say that if you want to back up your games, you have to rip the files yourself onto your computer. So we're not saying do it, but if you have to, that's the legal way. So yes, there you go. I just wanted to get that in there before we get anyone else asking questions about how we can do it legally.
Oh, if we want anything out of this bleeping, by the way, just let me know and I'll get it cut.
Whole episode bleeped.
And just right at the end, thanks, Brandon, for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
See you soon.
Man. I'm trying to think my first instance into any of this sort of thing, especially the handhelds. I think it was the analog console. So it was the really premium, high-end. It looks fucking amazing. It looks like it's made by Apple with all their advert. Everything's white and shimmery and fucking shiny. But I didn't know until this week that thing isn't even out. It's not even released.
No. So it's the one you're on about is the Analogue Pocket, which it uses FPGA technology. So you basically have to use your Game Boy cartridges, which is basically a way around it that Analogue can promote it playing Game Boy games because it's using original hardware. But yeah, that thing still isn't out yet, and it costs $200. So people are it's I'm getting one. It looks absolutely great, and I want to play the cartridges, but it's almost Analogue have so much competition from China at the moment with these little handhelds that are $80 that can just play whatever they want. But it's the legal safe route basically.
It's got expansion cartridge docks, doesn't it? So you can play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced. It can do the Atari Lynx, the Neo Geo Pocket, and the Game Gear and more. They've said so. I guess you'll be able to get pretty much any kind of adapter.
You plug a PlayStation 1 into it, and it'll play PlayStation 1 games.
Just jam it straight in there. Just ramming a disc in. The internet said it'll work. Yeah.
Imagine that accessory on the top of it. That would just be ridiculous.
Yeah,
it counts as a
disc
workout
spinner,
at the same time. So that's not too bad,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would.
Big
It
biceps
would.
after that.
Yeah. They said it can hook up to your TV as well, which I like. Like it docks like the Switch, which is cool. And it also can be a synthesizer to make music. That was like, for me, I was like, oh, this is cool. I can like synthesize 8-bit, 16-bit music. I'm all about that kind of thing.
Do you reckon there was one guy in a boardroom just like, we need to go, we're losing interest. So I don't whack a synthesizer on it. And people like, what is what?
Sold.
Yeah.
People like the 80s, don't they?
Synthwave, just shouting words.
That was a curveball.
Yeah.
It was. It's definite curve. Yeah. That being said, though, like the ones that are out currently, like I feel like that the Analogue was almost like a springboard to bring all these other ones out. Although I guess they were out before. I guess it was just before my knowledge. So, like the Retroid is one that I really like the look of. Like I love the retro style that they've gone for. It's got the Nintendo Switch control sticks, and one of them's recessed, so you don't catch your thumb on it. It looks absolutely brilliant. But like, which was the first that you got hold of, Brandon? Because I know obviously you've played with a lot of them now.
Oh god, that's a really good question. Actually, there's a company called Pow Kiddy, and I hate to say it, they make some really bad handhelds, but they're kind of catching up with the market now. But back then, it was just like a little. It literally looked like some out of a Kinder egg, but I bought it obviously because I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
yeah. And it was alright, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like $20, like PlayStation 1." Like, admittedly, I can barely hear anything that's coming out of my Crash Bandicoot ROM.
Yeah,
wink, wink. But it was alright. But yeah, you're right. The Analogue Pocket has shined light onto these retro handhelds, and almost like a bit too much light, because people are now like, "Hey, what's this metal retro RG350M that can play N64 for half the price?"
Yeah,
but it's a tough one for me because I don't want to promote it too much. I always say you need to use your own ROMs, but 90% of people that probably buy that do not.
I've got a bone to pick with you, Mr. Retro Dodo man.
Go on.
So I watched your review on the RG351M, yeah?
Yeah.
I want one of them now. How dare you? I really want one of those. I want one so bad.
That's a great video.
It was a really good video, really interesting, gave me all the information I'd need, little bits of everything. How dare you make me want to part with more money on this thing that I will probably get a bit of use out of. But
yeah, it is good. Like, I'll probably hook you up. Give me your address, and I've got a 2-line about. I'll send you one, mate.
Oh
no
my
problem.
god!
There you go.
They are. And I think that give you an insight into like how premium these things are getting. And it's almost like, because the only problem is they have no customer service, and I try and mention that as much as possible.
Yeah.
So when anything goes wrong, like I said, they just disappear. And even with me, when they want to work with me, they'll send me out a review unit, and I'll be like, bruv, this thing's literally broken.
Just into smoke.
I have to end up buying one off some other guy. It's all a bit shady, but the product is generally quite good.
That's amazing.
Until you get the customer service.
They send you a review copy, and then when you ask about it, they're just like, no.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, get out of here.
That's great. So I think a big concern for me with these is you say about the PS1 and PSP kind of usage, and is it the N64s also really difficult to emulate? That, from what I understand.
GoldenEye is
like
a problem.
This cap. Yeah, there's this cap of like 80% of PSP and N64 games it can emulate, but when you get onto the likes of GoldenEye in big PSP like RPGs, that you do get some like lag and maybe the odd crash. So at times, like, we can't define it as being, yes, this can play all your N64 games, because someone's just going to come along, download GoldenEye, and it's just going to be a potato.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty jaggedy. Yeah. Have you played the remaster, by the way, that leaked from Rare?
No, but I read about it.
Oh, baby. I'll hook you up.
Clean.
If you hook Jordan up, I'll hook you up. It's fucking sweet as shit. And you can flitch between the graphics. You can switch between retro and the new age one on the fly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
That's immense.
And it's twin stick. It's twin stick because it was made for the Xbox but never got released. It's got twin stick motion, so it's not the N64 like look and turn like you're a robot. Yeah,
it's amazing that someone thought that was a good idea at one point.
Oh, I know.
The one stick. Like, you look back and you're just
you're looking back at it, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Historians,
It's always Nintendo as well.
It is Nintendo. Yeah, like I've actually just been playing through Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2. And that is single stick, obviously, because it was for the GameCube. It wasn't like you didn't have the double stick on the little C nub or whatever it was that they called it. But it actually still works quite well. I think Metroid is one of the only games that seems to still cope okay with single stick shooting. And I think it's because it's not really a shooter it is a shoot. Me and Jordan, we've had this conversation before, haven't we, Jordan? It's not really a first-person shooter. It's like a 3D puzzle game where you shoot to do something.
Where you're in first person and shoot. Which is, it's a bit of an odd...
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
Odd turn of phrase that it's a not first-person shooter. So, do you think, as someone who's got quite a bit of exposure to this, as you said, you said that you're not the expert, but out of the three of us, you are the expert. Do you have any thoughts as to what stuff any idea as to when stuff might be nailed down a little more in terms of, have you seen like a big progression in the past 6 months to a year? And do you think in the next year, you're like, yeah, that'll be nailed. They won't have anywhere else to go with this kind of era.
In terms of handhelds?
Yes.
Yeah, so the problem at the moment is that the Chinese are currently capped at like this one chip that they can get for really cheap. And it's called the RK3326 chip. Don't know why they call it that. But they're kind of capped at that. If they want to go any further, then you're going to be looking at handhelds about $200. And I don't think people are going to pay that for that little speed or that power bump. No. So they're thinking that these handhelds are going to move to like a slightly more powerful chip and then go Android based. And that's when you're going to see the power bump in maybe even like GameCube emulation for an affordable price. And when I say affordable, I'm talking like 150 under, really.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that will be until like early next year that we see that, because one handheld got revealed today and it's still using the chip, and it's going to take a month to release the old chip. So they're all kind of, squeezing the juice out of this chip. And I can't see it going anywhere anytime soon. You'll start seeing bigger screens, basically, is what we'll see.
It's the RGB 10 Max, isn't it, which got released. I saw
they
it
need
through
to work
your
on
website.
These naming conventions.
Yeah. Is it RGB?
Names.
That is my question. Names. If it's RGB, I'm there all day, every day.
I think it's called the Urgerber 10 Max.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They really need to just name them some more. Like, I like the Retroid Pocket too. Nice and easy. Like, that's just got a great name. But what was the RG? What was the one you wanted, Jordan? I've got it written down here.
Sorry, RG351M by Anbernic.
Yeah, do away with that. Also,
boy.
Anbernic. Where's that? Like, that doesn't sound like a Chinese company name.
Makes me think of ambergris. That's all I can think.
Yeah, same.
Makes me think of whale vomit.
Puke.
Yeah, great. Love it.
So they're the big guys at the moment. They're the guys doing some really cool stuff. But so is Retroid. Like, Retroid, the team over there came out of nowhere. And they actually... Well, I'm about to say that they actually have a customer service team, but that's probably a lie. It's probably just one guy.
That poor guy.
They're doing it. Yeah, he's got 1,000 emails. He's like, I'm done. I'm out of here. But they're doing some really good stuff, and rumors have it that they might be moving into a clamshell product soon.
Oh,
and with that build quality and that price, that I really think that could... do some damage in the retro handheld scene. But again, like, they're not going to be doing GameCube emulation, really, or even GoldenEye emulation. Someone needs to come along and invest a bit of money into that for the competitors like Pow Kiddy and Anbernic to really be like, okay, they're stealing some of the market. Let me invest in competing with them.
Yeah. Can I say Pow Kiddy, by the way, has a great name. Like, I can imagine they would have a great advert where it's like a kid getting hit with it. It's like, Pow Kiddy! Like, it just slaps him right in the face. Yeah, it's a good name, that one.
It's got such a good name. It's insinuating beating up a child.
Well, at least when the kid won't show up and you've got to hit him with a game.
I'm gonna clip this and put it in my list of audio files that if I ever need to blackmail Hazz, I've got it. So with these, like with the PC variations and stuff like that, the UI is always pretty terrible. There is no UI, basically. But the Anbernics, Anbernic. I keep saying Anbernic instead. the
Yeah.
the UI on those actually looks usable. And from what you've shown,
they're really
it's usable.
simplifying it. I think the more they make it noob friendly, the more people that will buy it. The amount of times I get comments like, "Is this good for my kid?" And it's like the ones with really bad UI, which looks like Windows 95. I'm like, no.
Does it play
not,
Bionicle? If it plays Bionicle on there.
Sold. But now, I think they're realizing that a lot of people are buying them for themselves. Then they're buying it for their kid or their partner that isn't really into retro games, that they can just, flick through.
It's £80 quid.
They're actually preloading it.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's not that. It's not the end of the world if it gets broken or something.
That's the thing that's interesting with the preloading. Like, I don't get how. Like, I know that there's like the Evercade, which is like they have licensed cartridges with the games on, don't they? Almost like what Sega Game Gear were doing with their mini Game Gear. But I don't get how they're offering all these games. It's like those. Do you remember like those consoles you get at like the pound shop or like Quality Save, and it'd be like 15 quid and it'd be like 256 games, and it'd just be like loads of random reskins of the same 5 games. I just don't get how they get away with it. Like, it's
illegal. It's 100% illegal, and this is why it makes it a little bit shady. But on their websites, they say, "Oh no, it's not preloaded," and then you get it, and it is. And you're like,
it's difficult to catch
Is
these
it the
people when they keep
everybody
picking
wants
the
it
building
preloaded.
up and walking away with it, Harrison.
Very
difficult. And it's not there when you show up.
Do you think it's because they include the micro SD with the games on, so the console isn't loaded, but an SD card fell into the box that has 10,000 games on?
Who left that there? Oh,
It feels
how
like.
do we do that 1,000 times this week?
Yeah. Someone spilled a big bag of all these SD cards. They're all in the consoles.
Like Smarties.
Yeah. The sound would be great, wouldn't it? Like, because it all like fell in there. Yeah. No, I mean, the Evercade was one that I was looking at that I was like, this is a cool idea. Like, I like the community that they were trying to build with like the tradable, like, I've got these 10 games and I've got these 10 games. Did you find, like, what was the quality like with those? Did you prefer that over the others, or?
What they did is great. I've still got my Evercade, and I think like the whole trading and physical culture is brilliant, and I really do miss that. Like, bringing that back was great, but like none of my friends had it, so like I was trading with myself eventually. But they're a small company, and I think what they've done for their first product is spectacular, and I think they're going to do some really cool things recently, because I think they just announced something like the Evercade Versus. I haven't read too much about it, which implies that something might be multiplayer. So they're definitely a company to keep an eye on.
Yeah, because they offered indie title support as well, didn't they? Like indie games. Was it? What was it called? It was like Battle Bros. Fuck, I can't remember the
With the
game.
name Versus,
like
by the way, it's either going to be something where you're fighting each other or it's a legal dispute. So let's hope it's the one where you can play with someone else. It's not a legal dispute.
Or even they bring back like the old school trade cable or something. I'm not
Oh
sure.
yeah, that'd be great.
Did you remember those trade cables, right? Do you ever remember you could get ones? I had one that was like multicolored, and it had 4 ends on it.
Yep.
And it was said that you could have like a 4-way Pokemon battle. I never got that to work. Did any of you guys ever get that to work?
No.
Not 4-player.
No. I like.
I've
it was
never
the
used a link
RFID
cable.
thing as well.
I've never used a link cable. No.
Really?
No,
you missed
not
out.
once.
When you were trading Pokemon and it went doot doot doot.
I've never
across.
in my life traded a Pokemon, Harrison.
How does that make you done feel? With this podcast?
Oh dear. See you later.
I wish. I think
you
I
missed
just
out.
missed it because I was the point of like PS1 when I started gaming properly. When I say properly, I was like 5 or 6. Yeah, and that's kind of where it was. So I think I just missed that, which is a shame. If they want to bring it back and we can experience it again, that'd be nice. I can finally get that tarnished thing out of my podcast
neo
representation.
nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll have to drive up north and trade you a Pikachu or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
man.
We'll meet
When
halfway.
Can we get a 2-meter link cable? Can we do it like social distance? Like do you remember you could do those RFID things on the top of the Game Boy Color as well? It had like the little black, it's like a little black light, and you could give each other gifts every day. That was a thing as well.
RFD?
Yeah, I don't think I've got...
Oh, the infrared stuff.
Yeah. I don't remember. I had my Game Boy Color out before, and I don't know where it's gone.
This sounds
Yeah,
more
you
like
could,
a
give
Harrison
each other
fever
gift.
dream than an actual thing that happened.
It could be. It could be. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, like I miss like that kind of stuff. Like I think my favorite Game Boy back then was the SP. Like you said, Evercade, or who was it doing? Was doing the clamshell. Like I loved that design. I think that is something that should definitely come back more. Like with Nintendo doing obviously the DS, which continued on from that. Picto Chat was legendary for anyone who remembers that. Sending, drawing pictures of dicks and sending it to your friend in class, and they were like, "Oh, I got a bad drawing of a dick."
Oh no!
Actual size. Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, you've been playing on those like really mini ones as well, haven't you? Like the mini SP thing that was like a key ring or something.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
what?
doing some cool things as well. Again, that was like a Kickstarter campaign. And
Right.
It's why I love doing this, because there's just so much cool shit coming out all the time, and especially with the little, they call it the Funky S, which is like a little clamshell keyring Game Boy Advance that again you can play ROMs of physical games that you own.
Yes.
Wink, wink. And yeah, it's just admittedly, like it's not comfortable for hours of use, but it's bloody cool.
It exists.
It is. It's
which
pretty
is good.
amazing. It is. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Is there
things that
anything
even
coming
about.
like? Yeah, like I'm sure someone was playing like Mario 64 on it. I saw.
Yeah, so I got it wrong. I thought someone like managed to make an emulator for it, but it was apparently a modder did something crazy and somehow managed to get it working. It was all quite scientific. I was like, cool.
Some
yeah.
Neo guy just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything going like onto even like the second half of this year or next year that's coming out that you're like, oh shit, this is like the thing I'm excited for next? Is there anything big like that?
So there's one called the KTR1 it's another handheld that's apparently going to rival the Anbernic company, and that's Android based with a much powerful processor. But they rumored it's going to be about $200, but they reckon that's going to be able to play GameCube emulation. And I think once you get GameCube emulation onto a handheld, that's when a lot of people get interested, because the newer consoles you get, the more audience you're going to sap in, because the consoles just keep getting more and more popular.
Yeah.
And God knows what will happen when they get onto the PlayStation 2. That would just be ridiculous.
That's
Yeah,
a
that's
question
gonna be
I
quite a
have.
big thing.
Is where do you think emulation is going to stop? Like, what console do you think they're just going to go like, right, we're just going to stop it?
Okay.
Oh,
I think if it goes over $200, then you're better off buying the console or buying a smartphone that can emulate far more. So that's what they really need to keep in mind when they release these handhelds. It's keeping it affordable. Getting GameCube emulation for $150 instead of having to go out and buy all of the consoles or buy a brand new smartphone. I think but the Chinese just don't want to do it because it's too expensive to get the chips powerful enough to do it. So unfortunately, I think we're years away from that.
Yeah, especially with like Xbox, who are doing streaming the game to your phone from your console, even if your console's at home. Like, I think once it gets to that point, all you've got to do really is take your control with you and have your little dock thing on top, and you've pretty much got an emulator on the go wherever you go anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't see it going past the PS2. Like you said then,
No,
I
me
think
neither.
that's probably the pinnacle point. And that's the age of people who, like, it's like the last point where people are going to start being nostalgic about those consoles and emulating. Because past there, everything starts getting very realistic anyway. Other than obviously more stylized games. I'm kind of generalizing there, I suppose.
I can't see myself at 50 going, I'm going to whack the Xbox 360 emulator on, to be honest with you. I don't think I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Hey, who
I'm gonna
knows?
do
It
it.
could be a different time. Army of Two. That was
Our
pretty
nursing
banging.
homes are going to be great. When we all get old, the nursing homes are going to be banging.
Oh,
mate.
it's going to be
It's going to be all RGB lighting. It's going to be arcade
Yeah.
machines. It's going to be
All
sweet.
the Pow Kiddies.
Yeah, Pow Kiddy. When the Pow Grandpa comes out, that's what I'm in for.
When the Power Grandpa
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
out. Harrison, do you think before you speak?
Not always.
That's again being clipped for... I don't even know why that one's
Shit.
being clipped. That's just coming
Stop
out.
clipping me.
Oh, amazing.
Fucking hell.
Sorry.
Is there anything that's
Ridiculous.
like? Is there anything that no one's done yet that you want them to do? Is there anything that like?
I want someone to go for a dual screen clamshell handheld that can emulate DS, because that's what it's creeping up on. Like even people are somehow managed to get like small DS games running on the RG351M. So imagine if a company like Anbernic was just like, you know what, we're going to niche ourselves to a great DS handheld and get your DS ROMs running on a cheap little clamshell handheld. I think that would be really cool, and I think that would sell. There's still a lot to do in this scene. Yeah. Like, you know, it's still, the problem is, again, it's just a little bit shady and people don't really want to buy something from China with no customer service. But for me, if someone comes out of a decent clamshell, like, retro handheld, I think that'd be pretty cool.
At what point,
though,
man,
I think I agree.
I bought a 3DS recently, and definitely didn't find one of those cards that you can use to just put an SD card in it. I'd never do that. I'd never do that.
Definitely didn't.
But I think the 3DS only cost me, what, like 30 quid? 40 quid?
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and the little card thing would have been £15 if I bought one, which I didn't.
Yeah.
So and from there, it's basically just, I think it comes with a micro SD, or would have come with a micro SD. I'm tripping over myself saying these things that I didn't do. So at what point is it not just like, I'll just buy a 3DS, like a cheap 3DS, and then use that? But the same with the PSPs. I bought a PSP from a car boot for like 15 quid. And that was, I think, you used to have to remove pins from the battery to be able to root them back in the day.
Hack it.
Yeah, and now you don't even have to do that. You just whack from what I hear, you just whack the card in, and then it's good to go.
And it works.
Yeah, and I've definitely not got one of those knocking about with, like, 50 gigs worth of games on it.
You run the risk, don't you? Like, once you start having so many, like, how many handhelds is too many? Like, there's a point where you'll have, like, I can see Brandon looking around the room. He's probably got stacks.
Counting. Like,
help! It's like that, the cupboard, Monica's cupboard in Friends, when she opens it, it just, like, fucking comes piling out. You know, you can get buried under your collectibles. And I think it's, when you're trying to want to have that minimalist gaming lifestyle, it's hard, isn't it? Like, where do you see yourself, Brandon, in, like, 10 years with all your collectible handhelds? Like,
buried under a collectible avalanche, probably.
Swimming them. They are quite interesting. I'll show you the one. For those listening, I apologize, but there's this one that came in today. Look what that looks like.
That's
basically a
nano.
Game Boy Micro.
Literally a micro,
Yeah. So people are like coming out with just like that is like 100% illegal. Do you know what I mean? Like for the company to build that, make it, and sell it as a handheld. But I don't know, it's weird. Like, ever since doing like these videos of these handhelds over the last 2 years, like there's generally people passionate about collecting these things. Yeah. And that's a little growing scene there. But yeah, I don't know, mate. Like, every time one comes out, I'm like, bloody hell, am I going to review this? Like, what is my life in 10 years? Just swimming in handhelds.
Like Scrooge McDodo, I'd imagine. Literally swimming around like Scrooge McDuck.
Swimming in handhelds.
I was really proud of that one.
I bet you were. That was fucking good, man. Well done.
Well, have you heard of Dank Pods on YouTube?
Dank Pods.
Yeah.
It sounds like Soldier Boy's earpods.
It really does, doesn't it? Now I think about it. So
sounds wet.
He's an Australian guy who collects what he calls nuggets, which are MP3 players. So he literally collects and reviews old MP3 players and iPods. It started off as an iPod thing, and now he just does, like, he'll see what you can find on eBay or in cash converters or whatever. And yeah, that's his collectible. He collects random MP3 players. And that's
so cool.
Is it though?
I can imagine if you get them sealed. Like, if you've got a sealed iPod Nano, geez, that's some. But yeah, I bet there's some shit.
I'm talking like Hello Kitty. I'm talking like I don't even know. Like,
damn it.
Sorry,
I was rustling. I was trying to find mine. Stuff. I found it the other day.
And it's just like, I understand people want to collect things. But do you know when you look at something, you're just like, is that what you want to dedicate your life to? You're just like, there are other choices. But I understand with yourself, it's basically a job. It's another form of, you're doing it because it's your job. You've got that excuse, much like Dank Pods. But when people are like, I'm going to collect every kind of illegal emulator console, You're just like, right, okay. If that was
the consoles
like
aren't
my
illegal.
Mate,
the hardware's not illegal.
That's fair. Well, every sketchy emulator console, if that was one of my friends...
That's exactly what Soldier Boy said.
I'll have you know that won't hold up in a court of law, he says. And take me to court, I dare you. If it was one of my friends, I'd probably just sit him down and be like, look, mate, you've spent $4,000 on these. You know?
Yeah, look, mate, take out those earphones and I need to talk with you.
Yeah. We need a quick chat about this. You bought the Soldier game thing 15
Soldier 360.
times. Yeah, exactly. Come on, boy. Let's have a talk.
Yeah, it's funny how they've gone from collectibles almost like, we were saying at the start of the show, like the little tiny ones you'd get for like a tenner or 15 quid that might just have like the original Mario and that kind of thing. They felt like, do you remember those like gumball machine things that you'd put like 10p in and twist it, like the gachapon machines in Japan? It's like they've gone from that, and then now they've become as collectible as those things anyway, because like the gachapon machines in Japan, people collect all sorts of shit from those things. Like absolutely, I've got like a couple of Pokemon things.
People collect all kinds of shit from them. Awful stuff.
They do. Hey, you can buy used underwear and live crabs in some of them. Like
live crabs?
There's some weird shit.
Whoa.
Honestly, I've seen them.
You can't say underwear and crabs in the same thing, Harrison.
I can, and shouldn't have been in the same machine.
You get one free.
You need to be very clear. It's all about context with this.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll make sure to break them up a little bit more next time.
The next time underwear and live
shit.
crabs comes up.
Yes. It might come up again. You never know with our show. Yeah. But yeah, people collect that stuff, and then now they go on to collecting these things as they get bigger and more expensive. And it's just nice to see that people can have that much that these things can gain value. Like, do you think they'll go up in value in the future for these early ones? Like, do you think it's going to be a commodity?
I think like the really bad fake consoles, I don't know if you see it, I used to do videos on them, but there was like generally really bad like fake PlayStation 2s.
Oh, right.
And I remember buying like a fake PlayStation 2. It was called like the Polystation 2. And if you Google it, they're quite popular. And I paid like £50 for this piece of crap, and it barely worked. And that was 2 years ago. So I don't think these handhelds specifically are going to be collector's items, but it's like all of the weird and wonderful like accessories like for the Game Boys and the fake stuff that might go up in value and be like collector's items, but who knows?
Because like, we have a chat with like Jordan, our mates over at the Game Deflators. That's a podcast who they follow the trends of game values going up and down in all the different markets. So they regularly pick up games and see how they change in value and invest in them pretty much.
Yep.
And from what they seem to say, like the price of gaming is going up. Like all of the collections that people have, everything is successfully going up. And it seems to be a good thing to invest in right now. Like if you've got a box of games down under your desk like I have, hold on to them and keep them nice and shiny in a box, because they might be worth a hell of a lot of money at some point down the line. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it kind of goes hand in hand with why emulation is gaining popularity. Like people, if you want to go out and buy, I don't know, Pokemon Red on a cartridge, that's going to cost you like 30 quid just to get the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you might as well buy like the new Pokemon Sword and Shield or something, So that's people's, I think, excuse for being like, hey, I bought this back in the day. I should have the right to be able to play it again. I don't know. Like, I feel sorry for people that want to play Pokemon Red and that have to pay 30 quid for it. And that's why people are moving to emulation. And Nintendo and Sega somehow need to make something to help this audience out. Because if Pokemon Red was £5 and you could legally download the ROM from Nintendo themselves, they'd make a mint.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so would these little handhelds.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But they won't. They won't, because they want you to buy Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
For 50 quid.
Well,
but people would buy them both.
Look at it as a form of conservation. So what happens if what was the game? Was it the sports one for there were only like 4 copies ever made for the NES? World Champion
the
something.
Nintendo Sports Olympics World Stage or something it's called.
Whatever it's called. There were 4 of them made or something like that.
Yeah.
So obviously anyone who's playing that, they don't own a copy, but that thing's lost to time now. Like, you're not going to be able to find that again. So, in terms of conservation, that's doing the world a favor. It's the conservation of all this technology. Is, if you digitize a book and redistribute that, if you just keep it in an archive, to do that. Yeah, if you just keep it in an archive, like that's you're helping out. If anything, if there's a mass fire or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's where like the Internet Archive were coming from, weren't they? Because they've stored pretty much everything digitized that there is. Like there's games, movies, books, documents, is everything. That's where the Rare game of James Bond leaked. If anyone wants to look it up, it's on the Internet Archive, because pretty much everything else is. Even, was it Dinosaur Planet, which was an N64 game that was never released? That's on there now. Like,
imagine working for them. There. You're just literally just like, I'm just nipping down to the archive for something or another. Just pull out like an N60. Obviously, I know it's not physical, but you just nip onto one of the servers. Yeah, just go jump on one of the servers and play some of this unreleased thing that's the only person that's ever going to play it, kind of thing.
I feel like it'd get out of hand fast. Like, the internet's a weird... Like, you'd be like, people are backing up some real weird shit.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, because Porn Nun 6. We don't want that in here.
Porn Nun 6, that seems way too... You came up with that very quickly, Harrison.
Nobody Google it.
Nobody Google it. No one check it. It's definitely on the archive if anyone wants it.
Moving swiftly on from Porn Nun 6.
Yeah, man. I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to add, Brandon, to any of this? I mean, we're coming up to the end of the show. Like, we're coming up to an hour. So is there anything you want to add on your thoughts on emulation or the hardware that's circulating?
I think just for safety wise, like anyone looking into these handhelds have to be somewhat skeptical, because there is literally like no customer service behind this stuff. You do legally need to own the cartridges or buy ROMs. Like there's games coming out now for the Game Boy by developers that came out this year that are like selling ROMs for like a fraction of the price, which is really cool. So you can use these things, like you said, the hardware is legal, but the sharing of ROMs and downloading them from someone that you don't know is the illegal part.
Yeah. So bear that in mind, people. Bear it in mind. Is there anything else you want to say, Jordan, on that topic?
I knew barely anything about any of this stuff until the other week, and now I know slightly more. I feel like there's a lot more to dive into with this. There's so much about it.
Yeah.
But if
it's the start of something
huge.
Not something big, but it's going to be knocking on Nintendo's door over the next few years, I think.
Yes.
And I hope these things get so big that Nintendo and Sega do something. Like, release the bloody ROMs for a few quid, make a buck, and help everyone out.
Let us do it. Oh, not let us. Let people do it legally, is what I meant to say.
I was going to say, let us. Where we have to get involved? Whoa.
But yeah, I think if you have any interest in this kind of stuff, or you want to find out any more about it, obviously we can't recommend Retro Dodo enough, because this is where we've got a lot of our information from. And Brandon, you have been incredible with this information and very helpful with it when we clearly don't know what we're talking about in places.
Yeah, man. Do you want to plug your?
It's been fun.
Do you want to plug your channel and your socials for any of the listeners who want to check you out?
Yeah, so just retrododo.com is our website, and if you want, video content and reviews of these handhelds, check out Retro Dodo on YouTube.
There you go, man. And you can find us everywhere at Grief Burrito, and you can find me at HazWild. And Jordan, where can you find you?
At the Mr. John Core.
They can indeed, and you can find our other two hosts as well, Lucy, Lulu_Pew on Twitch and Twitter, and Nick as at Ruthlessly Ruffles on both of those. So go and say hi, and let's wrap it up there. Thank you, listeners, for checking out the show. Make sure to leave us a review, a like, and all that bullshit that everyone else says. And we'll see you next week.
All right. See you later, guys.